Playoff season is upon us, and the Speed Cup Series descends upon the Kansas Speedway for round number 13 and race 1 of a 5-race sprint to the end. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Nola Rempo. Joined alongside me today is Scott Rankin, who will be joining us momentarily in the broadcast booth. And welcome to the first race of the chase for the Speed Cup Series. Tonight's race sees 10 drivers into the ring, and they'll start to sling this one out towards the tail end of the season. Ryan Shelton enters on the top with 4,003 points. Ethan Amber back in second with 3 wins on the season. Cosmo Inoshu bringing it up in third. Justin Mello back in fourth. Jeremiah Vincent in fifth with Eisenman in sixth. Plute, Powell, Scott, and Major close out the 10 cars that will look to scrap it out for the championship as we work our way into the final portions of racing action this season. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic drive and no doubt going to be a barn burner of an afternoon. 90 laps about to kick off here around the beautiful Kansas Speedway. Conditions could not be more perfect. 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 91 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. Good low humidity, only 34% of humidity, and some mild winds, 12 miles an hour, blowing off towards the southwest. So that is what this Thursday afternoon looks like for us here at the Kansas Speedway. And we are ready to rumble. Scott, it's race 1 of the chase, and 10 drivers are going to have a lot to contend with a 32-car grid this afternoon.
Yeah, and what a track to do it from as well. Wide open style of racing, because this is Kansas, baby. You're going to have multi-groove. The bottom's going to be open. The top's going to be open, maintaining momentum. Probably not going to see a lot of drivers lingering around in the middle of that racetrack as well. But at some point, you've got to let the tires breathe. You need some fresh air to the nose. You need some downforce. So that means you've got to go swinging around the racetrack. Fastest lines on the bottom. But as the tires start to wear, that whole track opens itself up, and I'm seeing a lot of drivers getting tight in their qualifying runs.
And we'll get to those qualifying runs in just a moment. For now, we'll quickly thank some of the guys that helped keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series in their 4th season of competition. Tonight's race brought to you by Highline Diecast Collectibles, your go-to source for high-quality NASCAR diecast and memorabilia. Whether you're hunting for the latest releases, rare finds, or looking to sell your own collection, they've got you covered. Plus, don't miss their live auctions every week on Facebook, where you can score incredible deals on must-have collectibles. Check them out and follow along at facebook.com/HLD Collectibles, where passion for racing meets collectible perfection. And by Brookston Animal Hospital. Brookston Animal Hospital is a AAHA accredited full-service veterinary, medical, boarding, and grooming facility serving Metro Atlanta with a mission to provide modern and up-to-date medicine while also tailoring care to the health and well-being of all animals. Visit BrookstonVet.com to schedule your appointment today. Other sponsors include Beer Street Journal, Twisted Steel Steak Appeal, Sim Rap Market, and Race Rap Guy. So qualifying, as you say, currently underway this afternoon with about a minute and a half to go. A lot of drivers have already finished their runs. Two drivers that have not, Colton Easterday and Garrett Austin.
Yeah, so a couple drivers still trying to put it all together. Phil Scott with the pole at the moment. So Easterday is coming to the line right now. So this will start his lap. I believe Garrett Austin has just started his run as well. Minute and 15 seconds on the clock, so not a huge deal of time. And the problem as well with these next-gen cars, those tires, they're not all that grippy when they're cold. Oftentimes it's lap number 2 when you set your flyer, and the reason for that, you got enough temperature. I can tell you Austin's up to the outside as he enters turn 3 and 4 to start his run. Easterday is going to cut it to the bottom. He's trying to set his quick time right here. Doesn't think he'll get time for an extra lap. And guess what? Garrett Austin will get the time. He crosses the line with about 40 seconds left. That gives him 10 seconds in the window to try and set that time. Easterday did not get the run coming to the line.
On board now with one Garrett Austin as he tries to put down the hammer. Speeds in excess of 185 miles an hour, exceeding super speedway qualifying speeds at a track that's a mile shorter. This is why Kansas is regarded as one of the most treacherous mile and a halves on the NASCAR calendar. From 30th on the board all the way up to 11th, a great close to Garrett Austin's qualifying effort this afternoon.
Yeah, good time, puts it on the board, gets himself just outside of that 11, and tell you what, gets the lap in just in time. Easterday did improve, but he only improved by enough to grab himself 2 more spots. So his lap 1 was just about there. So I think he would have really benefited from taking the outside line. The problem for Easterday, he left it really, really late. You know what? That extra little bit of time running around the outside of 3 and 4, I don't think he would have got back to the line.
Well, we're going to take a rundown now of what your official starting grid looks like this afternoon. Started on pole, it is Philip Scott alongside Jason Gracias. They will start 1-2 on the front row with Scott being one of our playoff contenders. Nicholas Cote starts in third alongside Highline Motorsports runner Dalton Powell. Moving back to row 3, it's Kevin Desnoyers from Texas alongside Highline Motorsports and chase competitor Ethan Amberg. Row 4, going to be holding one Nate Cotilla alongside Jeremiah Vincent. And moving back to close out the top 10, it's FTF Racing's Justin Mello alongside the Florida native Manazzi Major.
Outside the 10, the driver we followed at the tail end of qualifying, Garrett Austin, Cosmin Ionoshu. He's there in with a shot of winning this championship. Lines up out at 12. Joey Barrett and Ryan Shelton are going to be on the 7th row of the grid, looking for some speed, looking for some improvement from this pair. Outside of these guys, by the way, 0.02 of a second separated Sedarius Day from being 1 spot further up on the grid. Josiah Vincent will be alongside of him. Martin Palute, what a run he had last week. Needed to put some strong finishes in. He's in the playoffs, 9 points off the lead at this point in time. Arabia Caton is going to be to his outside. And finally, last row inside the 20 is going to be Tim Branson from Wesley Dunphy.
Moving on back to row number 11, it's Zach Williams alongside Vincent Motorsports driver Charles Simmer. Row 12 then holds Jeffrey Reed and Colton Easterday, with Easterday looking for more in the race. Mark McFadden and Ryan Newman are going to be back on row number 13 this afternoon. Row 14 holds Scott Leonard and Terrell Wheeler. And then rounding out the top 30 is Jason Chu and Corey Hutchinson, with the back of the grid headed on up by Dave Harrington and Jeffrey Goodpaster. Goodpaster, the lone driver who did not set a qualifying lap this session.
We got 32 drivers to make the field here tonight. I think we're just having a quick look at those running orders. I mean, Philip Scott, he's 11 points off the top end of the playoffs. Ryan Shelton leads the way in terms of playoff points as well. So he's got a little bit of room to make, but in terms of drivers in the playoffs, only 3 drivers have a win. Phil Scott is among those drivers. Only 1 win for him. Ryan Shelton, though, has dominated this field. He comes into the playoffs 4 wins on the way in. Ethan Amberg is the other driver with wins. He's got 2 of them.
So the field going to work our way down the back straightaway for the first and only time this afternoon. All 32 cars are lined on up. So with this being chase season now, how do you got to reset? It's a whole new mentality. You can't approach this like a regular season race.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, there's only 10 guys in the championship chase, but the other guys, man, well, I've had a rough season. I didn't necessarily make it. Think about Jason Gracias. He could have been in these playoffs last week. He'd be keen for a win. That's just a way to just cap off the season and go, hey, if I was out there, I would have made the playoff grand finale, you know. So he's looking for a lot of redemption. He just, I think, maybe got into his own head a little bit too much last week and made a mistake on strategy.
Well, we'll find out who will be not making the strategy and who might be having a good start to their playoff season. The green flag is out. It's go, go, go from Kansas.
Here we go. Good launch both lanes. Run down to turn number 1 for the first time tonight. And have a look at the field jockeying for positions. This is going to be a tough one. They're all lined up. Cold tires, and Gracias gets the run off the 1. Just about gets the fence as he gets out of 2.
Down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. The whole pack still tucked up nose to tail as we fire off the top shelf of turn numbers 3 and 4. And it is going to be one Philip Scott. No, it'll be Jason Gracias up top who will lead the way at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, he's going to feed in, and he had a very, very narrow entry to try and find the top lane. Now, you can save some tire down in the bottom lane, think about that. But also, the speed is up in that top. You want to come off the corners, and you want to maintain that momentum. So moving to the outside is generally the best way to go about it. Have a look at Nicholas Cote. Stuck on the bottom at the moment. Can't move his way up. And there's a car around at the back end of the field.
That is Josiah Vincent, who has been served with a meatball flag this afternoon. So Vincent gonna be having a time of it this afternoon. Jason Gracias puts down the fast lap of the race, and whoa, holy cow! Huge tank slapper into the inside fence there for Gracias. That is a monster impact.
Yeah, he will be gone. There is no way that one goes any further for him, unfortunately. He's still down there. He's still down there. He's finally managed to tow.
Oh my.
The field made their way past. That is such a heavy impact. There would be medical staff during attendance immediately.
That is quite literally one of the worst places you could possibly hit at this racetrack. That's right where the safety barrier juts out to allow safety vehicles to get in. Caton now from 18th on the grid puts down the fastest lap of the race, but boy, you talk about bad places to hit. I can't think of a worse one here at the oval side of things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but it was such a heavy. I do want to, he took such a long time riding himself. I wonder whether or not he actually might have hurt his wrists in that impact. So he's on pit lane now. I'm actually concerned that there is a potential for damage with some of the potential that goes through those wheels. Gracias has got the lead at the moment. Philip Scott's coming back at him, and Ethan Amberg starting to set some lap times. Just cast your mind back to last week, and it was the guys that pressed on early and tried to grab some track position, thinking Malillo is a very, very good example of one of those that struggled because the tires just went away from them so quickly. So for the rest of the field, keep that in the back of your mind. You know, make sure that you're looking after the tires and preserving the tires because the momentum, the speeds are so high around here. And I tell you what, Phil Scott's got at the bottom. Is he going to try and slide jump for the lead? Doesn't need to.
No, he does not. Jason Gracias lets him in, and he's going to push him down the back straightaway rather than trying to go for the over-under. I think right now Gracias, he's playing the long game. And I think he recognized, right, Philip Scott in a championship fighting position, he is not. You can tell he's a chase driver who is not by the red bars on the left side of the timing tower. That denotes who is into the chase and who right now is just fighting for regular season glories.
Have a look at how deep in the field Ryan Shelton is. You know, driver coming in with 4 wins on the season. You'd have to sit there and go, he's a red-hot favorite for the championship. But right now, he's stuck in traffic. So Darius Day, Nicholas Cote, and Martin Plout are the next few drivers ahead of him. Plout is a rival for that championship. Sits 7th in terms of the standings. So Plout's a long, long way down. He's 13th on the racetrack.
Philip Scott, fastest lap of the race, that time by 3/10 clear. Now Jason Gracias, it's a 31.049 to put Philip Scott even further up and clear. Ino Shu just clear for Kevin Desnoyes as well for 4th. And then his pack of 4 playoff contenders from 6th place all the way back to 9th. And Jeffrey Reed just lost a few spots that same lap. Well, we're still double file for the most part, coming off the top shelf, and already we are working our way into this one. And by the way, Josiah Vincent has confirmed he is nasty. I do believe he is all right, though. His explanation saw Martin in the wall and pulled the wheel down too far to avoid him, and it broke loose. So, but it does sound, though, like the wrist is feeling okay.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really, really glad because, yeah, you can have some hits that will absolutely rip the wheel out of your hands. I got some testing into my friend's rig just recently. He has a lot of stuff turned up, including his brake pressure and wheel strength. But it's interesting. It was fun to test, but you make a little bit of a mistake and it hurts. It really, really hurts. And I only made minor mistakes. I didn't actually slap the wall at any stage in the testing that I was doing. Malillo just had a go at Kevin Desnoyer. Up for 5th spot, couldn't quite get the job done. Now he's going to have to feed him back behind him, and we're keeping an eye on it. A few of these drivers, Jeremiah Vincent, one of those as well, deeper in the field, inside of the 10, but at the moment, Nate Cotilla is tracking him down.
Nate Cotilla in the number 5. New look for that 5 card entering this afternoon. The Bilstein machines, and boy, isn't that reminiscent of a certain British sim racer that makes regular runs of the Nordschleife, isn't it? Running the Bilstein colors, of course, for Mr. Jimmy Broadbent. And how about this? You don't have to see those colors on the stock car side of things.
Yeah, good to see him stretching, expanding horizons outside of the regular grouping. Unfortunately, gets caught a little bit on the apron, no momentum. Martin Plutz can pick up that spot. He'll be looking for a few extra points. Just trying to keep an eye on what's happening to Shelton. I wonder whether or not, he's pressed on a little bit, trying to grab some track position. But he's stuck at the moment. He had Zach Williams have a go to him to the inside. Now he's got some fresh air. And I can tell you Sedarius Day just ahead of him just grabbed the wall as he was right up underneath the rear bumper of Garrett Austin. And they both were in the same line entering 3. So Shelton might just be sitting back and conserving some tyres a little bit at the moment, and hope to make a run a little bit later on. But right now, he's really, really struggling to make his way forwards.
Tell you what, though, this field's off to a good start. Usually when it comes to Kansas, it's a bit of a coin toss as to what type of a race you're going to get, if it's going to be, wreck filled, or if you're going to be able to have a good run. But we're having a pretty good show of things this afternoon. A lot of clean racing so far. Now 13 laps in, mostly single file all throughout. Bit deeper in the field here. You see the 15 of Ryan Newman trying to make tracks as he just got around Scott Leonard. Leonard also under fire for Jennifer Goodpaster. So, into the outside wall, and down goes Goodpaster. So, still got some aggressive dogfights going on deeper in the pack here as well.
Yeah, that's the big thing about Kansas. You get packed up, you get wadded up. So, clearing somebody isn't the end of the battle. It's clearing somebody, getting ahead of them, and then being allowed to pull away. Sometimes you just got to recognize when you're driving around here at Kansas, hey, he's quicker than me. The best thing I can actually do right now is probably push that car to the next pack. If he can pull me along a little bit, he's faster than that group, and I support him. We'll get up there quicker, and our overall race will be better. So oftentimes at Kansas, it is about working together, but also finding a rhythm, finding a groove. And you've definitely got to have a race car that operates on the top and the bottom. The big thing about 3 and 4 is it's a very much a road course style of corner. Late apex, you want to point the car off. So you're doing a lot of your turning in the early to mid part so you can balance and build your speed off. 1 and 2s, you don't build a lot of momentum off the 1 and 2, but the real passing and real momentum swing is done better.
Here we go, the battle for 6th here. Manazzi Manger just went 3 wide with Jeremiah Vincent and Dalton Powell. So bit of a near miss there for a few drivers, but for the most part, we're able to keep things relatively locked down. So Manazzi Major clear of Vincent. Powell still in the mix. Oh boy, talk about clearing yourself across the nose as Major cleared himself across the Napa Auto Parts number 8.
They'll be a little bit aggressive. Remember, both of these guys competing in the playoffs as well. So that is 4 position. In fact, I think even Dalton Powell is in there. So it's a 3-way fight. These drivers, Martin Plutz 7th. Manazzi Major's 10th in the playoff standings. Dalton Powell's 8th. And Jeremiah Vincent 5th coming into today. So all towards the back end of the playoff standings. So this one is actually quite important to seeing if they can progress into that next round. Was also, just remember, we were talking about Ryan Shelton, how he was struggling to make ground. He was in fact sitting back and saving tires. He's now starting to move his way through the field. He's picked off a bunch of guys. He was having some issues with getting to Cesaria's day. He backed it up, saved some tire. He is now progressing at a rate of knots. In fact, he's about pick off 14. He's one of the quickest cars on track right now.
Benazzi Major dropping back a little bit as he's going to fall behind Jeremiah Vincent. Just by then, Nicholas Coate and Joey Barrett will go side by side. About halfway through our opening run, maybe about 5-6 laps short of that halfway point. It's worth noting as well, Philip Scott has not been able to necessarily break away. That gap has remained under half a second the entire race so far. Jason Garcias has been keeping Philip Scott very honest in his bid for the lead.
Yeah, but Garcias is starting to fade a little bit on the tires. The big thing is, once you get to the lead at Kansas, you kind of can't really pull away. By the way, update, if we are going to get a random yellow, the window for that now is open, so that could happen any time from now. But the big thing is, if you get to the lead, you can't necessarily pull away. There's such a draft. It reminds me quite a lot of Pocono in a lot of the ways that it races here. So Philip Scott's definitely got the pace. He's got the fresh air. He's looking after tires. The big thing for Garcias at the moment is he looks really tied up and against that wall. He's struggling a little bit on tires. They're all starting to pack up a little bit in behind him. So Amberg and Ionoshu are really starting to apply some pressure. But the thing is, I don't necessarily think if they can get there, they can complete the pass. And that's the big thing. Here comes, actually, as we talk about it, Ionoshu to the bottom.
Cosman Ionoshu to get side! Not clear, but he's clear now. Kind of forced the issue there. Amber taking the wise move to back out, and that's two chase drivers going at it, right? A Deltafy Camry and the Highline Motorsports Ghost Sim Racing Mustang. Those are two drivers that are both in contention for a championship. Both have had strong results this season, and they nearly came to blows in our chase opener.
Yeah, big, heavy racing from those two guys as well. By the way, this is going to be a two-stopper here tonight as well. 80% on the fuel mileage is not going to get you to 45 laps in terms of fuel. So expect some drivers to start thinking about pitting anytime from about 8 laps from now. That could extend all the way up to, I think, certainly somewhere in the late 30s. But the pit window is going to open here very, very shortly. There will probably be a few drivers maybe dive in on 28, 29 looking for that undercut.
Still got several battles underway deeper in the field. Sedarius Days with a potential problem here as he is hemorrhaging positions. What's going on with Sedarius Days in the Crown Royal number 12?
He burned his tires off very, very early on. He pushed on quite aggressively in the early run, so he is certainly starting to struggle. He made a lot of ground early on, and now he's having to pay that difference. Sedarius might be one of those drivers who looks for that early stop.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. I mean, he's lost over a second to the cars in front, just left alone. In fact, here he is coming to pit road. This is a real early stop. I don't agree with that. He might have, yep, he just picked up a black flag with that pit entry.
Yeah, so pit lane speed tonight is, I'm gonna have to do some digging on that one. 72 kilometers an hour. I get the feeling that's probably gonna be about 55 mile an hour from memory. Actually, probably be a little bit less than that, like 45. Will be 45 mile an hour.
Yeah, 45. Yeah, I was trying to do the math in my head.
I can hear the calculator burning.
You can hear the old computer that takes up the warehouse, like spinning away.
Husband, I know she just made contact with Justin Garcias coming off of turn 2.
No damage, it looks like, to either race car. They are still going to remain tightly packed up together as we work our way back into the tri-oval. Turning lap 26 this afternoon. Still no cautions on this one, which is a statistical anomaly when it comes to green flag TV races at this place. Usually we've got at least 1 or 2 by now. I think we had 2 at this time around last time here. Oh boy, the one car cashed the outside wall. Now what I'm watching for when we do get a crash is impacts into the wall, because it is not, let's put it this way, if there's ever a racetrack where you're going to see a car flipping over on 1.5 miles, it's going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, the impacts are heavy. We already saw that car get loose, shoot down to the inside as well. So for Josiah Vincent, you know, he's now done for the day. So Darius Day, I think he might actually be done for the day as well, because he sped on pit lane and he hit the cone on the way in. No, yeah, so he not only did he have to serve a 40-second penalty for speeding, I think it got increased for also an unsafe pit lane entry. So I think it was a double up.
Grand total of 1:20 in the box. A brutal penalty to serve when you're this late in the game. And that it's not going to spend an end to his day, but it's going to spend the end of his day being competitive.
Yeah, and still racing. This is for the third spot. Amber got to the bottom, so Jason Garcia's pushed on. Really good short run pace from this car. It's only the very medium to long run car. So he was fine on the medium run. It's that mid to long where he starts to ail back. And when he does ail, he ails quite a bit. And the problem for him now is that he's further up in underneath somebody else's bumper. There was a fair gap between himself and Philip Scott, so he was able to sit back, still make the car turn down the racetrack. But as these guys drive on by him, he's going to be tighter and tighter and tighter on them. Don't cross that white line and sit on it like that. If you want to be on the apron, cross it aggressively, be on the apron. If you want to be off the apron, that's fine. All four wheels do not have 2 and 2. That is a recipe for disaster at places where you use the apron.
Boy, Jason Garcia's getting the elbows out. Thought about going 3 wide, and I think he tried for it down the inside. Now he's got Ethan Amberg up on the top shelf that he's got to contend with as well. Kevin Desnoy is going to pull clear with 3rd. And Garcia's will remain in line for 5th. But a bit of a tight moment there between the bunch as it's getting a bit more dicey in these battles within the top 10.
Well, have a think about Ryan Shelton. By the way, cloud cover at the moment over the circuit. So the track temperature, I'd expect it to die off. There is so dark out there at the moment. There is no sunlight coming through. Ryan Shelton starting to cut his way through. Haven't seen the track temperature die off as yet, but I would expect in the next few minutes ago we're going to see the effects of that. A little brighter down here in 3 and 4, but only a little bit. Shelton's cut his way through. Remember, for him, he started a long way further back, was back in 14th spot. He fell back out to about 18th, 19th. Looking to save tires. He's now paying dividends for all that tire saving that he did way back when. He's up to 9th spot, 0.3 of a second faster than the leaders, 0.3 of a second faster than Jeremiah Vincent ahead of him.
And back here you see Ryan Newman getting around Zach Williams, the number 3 of Jason Shu, situated just behind as well. This is the battle for 19th through 21st here. Is currently underway as well. I believe still have virtually everybody on the lead lap, save for the 2 cars that had to come down to pit road and past the 1/3 mark, nearing on the halfway point and under 15 laps. This race is really just flying by us.
I'm just waiting. I'm surprised more cars haven't elected to come to pit lane for that stop. We've only seen Sedarius Days jump into the lane. Pace at the moment has fallen off by about 1.5 seconds for the bulk of the field. So we are starting to see quite a significant pace fall off. Sedarius Days, he's actually back up there and turning. He's a good second faster than the race leader that time by. So he is making a little bit of pace. But yeah, track position I think is quite critical for a lot of these guys. Kevin Desnoyer is actually in a strong spot on his tires at this point in time as well.
Pit stop window anticipated to be around the halfway mark, so we are still expecting this to be effectively a one-stop race this afternoon, unless anybody really tries to gamble with Pitty on 30 and 60, but given our past the lap 30 mark, I don't think anybody's going to take that gamble. You just don't gain nearly enough from a 2-stop race. Whoa, trouble behind! Look out as Justin Mello slides down onto the apron. Contact with Nicholas Code and a big moment there. McFadden as well is in a pit road this time.
Yeah, here we go. So here's the undercutter. So this says to me that it is indeed a 2-stopper. The other side of the coin is that it may only be a 1-stopper if you can save in both sections of the run. Have a think about what happened to Ryan Shelton. Remember how he fell a long way further back? That could have been him actually fuel saving. The thing is, you burn the most fuel up front on the run. The fuel number will come to you as the run goes on, so it'll be easier and easier and easier to save that distance. But if you can't hit it very early on, you are going to give up a lot of spots to do so. You're in a world of hurt.
This is the incident between Mello and Nicholas Cope that last time by, coming around 1 and 2. Watch this here as Mello just chases Cope to the racetrack, gets him into the fence, and slides onto the apron. Did a good job though to get that car back underneath him, but I'm sure Coates gonna remember that later on down the line.
I'll tell you what, Philip Scott's in trouble in the tyres at the moment. Kevin Desnoyers is actually going to pull up alongside of him as car's coming off a pit lane. So here's the battle for the race lead. He got him.
Coming up and around into turn numbers 1 and 3 and 4, sorry, and clear for the lead now is Desnoyers as we battle our way down the front straightaway. Philip Scott, will he battle back? I think he might try, but just doesn't have much of an answer for him.
But have a look at the line differential. Earlier on, they were running up and by the fence. Lap traffic's going to get in the way. That's Jeffrey Reed. Cut the line off. But early on in the run, they were running either all the way around the top. Caution's actually going to come out. We have an incident down the back straightaway.
Oh boy, that's one of our playoff contenders, Justin Mello, that's around.
Still rolling at least, but there is damage to that race car.
And I believe there is at least one other car involved in that as well, as you see Mello tumbling down the order now. Oh boy.
Is he gonna fall off the lead lap?
I don't think he will. No, he's going to be able to get it rolling. You just saw him spinning up and around. Now, the question is, what puts us under this first yellow flag? As watch behind, coming off the corner. Oh, wow, just put him into the wall and took Jeremiah Vincent with him.
See, there was a car already in the wall.
Is that Corey Hutchinson, I think?
Maybe? He was in and around that area. In fact, it might have been. And Hutchinson would have been tight. So you see it was the 28 car, and I believe you're right, that is Hutchinson.
Yeah.
But he's already in the wall there.
Well, I mean, by that logic, that's definitely not a Mello. He would have gotten in him no matter what he did.
Was he expecting to clear him? I think he was.
Maybe. It's the only thing I can think of that makes sense. Well, first yellow flag will result in our first mass pit stop window, and this might be enough to get us to the tail of the pitting line as I see everybody up on the jacks and the race off pit road.
4 tire sets for the race here today, and getting a long green flag run to open it up means that we will not be limited for tires at the back end of the race. Drivers now on their second set of tires. One driver had just come to pit lane only a couple laps ago. Prior to that caution, he was literally on his way out. He got 1 lap on the set of tires before the caution flag flew. That'll be the 22 machine of Mark Faden. He's now at 2 laps down. He'll get the wave by and move to 1 lap down, but he's going to need another caution to get himself back on the lead lap. One driver staying out at the moment, looking to get his lap back. Corey Hutchison fell to 1 lap off the lead. He's going to take the wave by. He will be fuel limited. He'll be needing to pit here very shortly. In fact, he's going to take the left-hand turn down a pit lane, and he's going to stay at 1 lap down, so he'll adjust that strategy.
What this will do is allow us to thank the rest of the folks to keep the lights on here. Season 4 of the Speed Cup Series being brought to you by Beer Street Journal, one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal paves the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. BeerStreetJournal.com, the best in beer. And by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Pluto. It's a solid punch of sweet and a heat flavor that lingers to let you know it's there. Marty Pluto is an award-winning Steak Cook-Off Association chef and has revealed his secret recipe rub to blow you away with flavor. Steak veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. Other sponsors include Simrat Market, Race Wrap Guy, Brooks and Animal Hospital, and Highline Die-Cast Collectibles, where passion for racing meets collectible perfection. Championship update for you as we get set to go back to green here, Scott. We can take a look at the top 10 of the chase. This is expected as of right now. The big loser, Drew Reisman, not present this afternoon. Ethan Amberg, though, looking like he might very well be jumping Ryan Shelton come the restart.
Yeah, but remember, Shelton's been on the improve as this race has gone on. He drove his way all the way up to 7th spot. He's on the inside of row number 4, so he will continue to make some ground back. He came into the race as we go back to green with a 1-point margin over Ethan Amberg.
Kevin Desnoy is going up to the high side, and he's going to maintain his run for the lead. 3 wide. Meanwhile, deeper in the field as we come up and around. And the pack going to get themselves up and working. Mark McFadden, though, has a black flag. Potential problems for him out of the gate.
Yeah, I believe that was due to some cars that weren't actually going to pass him. He may actually be okay here. They're looking into that one and trying to get that one cleared, so he should be good to go. So that looks like that was some sort of issue. It's out of his hands, so in that case, it's going to have it cleared. Desnoy has still got control of the lead. It'll be interesting what Phil Scott looks to do in this next run. Cosmin Ionoshu had really good short and long run pace. He was able to make some ground. And Ryan Shelton's going to get back to the inside, try and get the job done on Nicholas Cope, but his strength has certainly been saving tires in the long run. It'll be interesting to see what he does now he's got that little bit of track position, because here comes Nate Cotillo with some speed to his outside.
Update on McFadden, by the way, you are correct, Scott. That penalty has been cleared, so no problems for Mark McFadden. He can now race on and act like nothing happened. So near that halfway mark here, Nicholas Coe going to give one up to Jason Garcias. Garcias gets his way up into the top 5 behind Wesley Dunphy, looking to the inside of Dalton Powell. Boy, not a good run of this one for Jeremiah Vincent or Dalton Powell. Oh, trouble! Look out, Terrell Wheeler going around. He's going to collect Jeremiah Vincent up into traffic. McFadden gets involved. Good pacer involved. And we're going to tangle a couple, and Jason Shue, I don't know what the heck was going on there, but Shue comes in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, Jeremiah Vincent around, unfortunately. Not much that he necessarily could have done, and that's one of your playoff contenders as well. He must have had a speeding on pit lane penalty for him to be so far back, and when you're that far back, sometime that's just what happens.
Take a look at what happened here to Terrell Wheeler and Co. Went up high, trying to get around Wesley Dunphy, and I mean, Jeremiah Vincent just took him out.
Yeah, I
nowhere
don't think he
for
expected
McFadden
to
go.
Yeah.
You can see the smoke of the 22. Like, he was fully on the brakes, had him locked up, and just... Oh, I think Jason Shue is the same. He just locked up and went straight, trying to get around it. But, yeah, that was a big hit for good pace. They're down to the inside.
And one of the things is these tires, you overload them very, very quickly. They're a tire that sort of has this narrow window of peak grip operating with them. And the thing is, oftentimes, we talk about the brakes in these cars, and a lot of people complain about them. You know, they're a completely different style of brake. They're a weaker brake. It's just the 3 car. That shouldn't have happened. For Jason Shute, got in there, day late, $1 short. But oftentimes, the best thing you can do, even those cars coming in at the back end of the field, is they just lift off where they've got room to work with, because you definitely want to arrest your speed, but you need to stay dynamic. You need to stay agile. You need to be able to move around. You can see the smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you saw him as well lock it up, though, and just go straight on. So he just panicked.
Yeah, 100%. And the best thing you can do oftentimes in that situation is actually come off the brake, not touch it. So you can, if you need to turn the car, you got to come off the brake.
Well, this yellow flag takes us past the halfway point in racing action here this afternoon. And tough break for Mark McFadden, who got involved in that. We'll take a look on board with the helmet camera of the number 22. And this is what Mark saw. Just nothing he could do.
No. And you can see how blind he is to the smoke as well. He can't 100% tell what's gonna happen with those cars. And he's trying to lift off, trying to give them the room. There's a rare situation, and it's not very, very often, but that's one of the few times if I was in his shoes, I'd probably come off the brakes, get on the gas hard, and try and clear them and go around the outside. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, though, in that situation. So
yeah,
really easy for us to look back at that. I think he made a good call. It's just unfortunate it was the wrong one.
Well, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, right? There's just nothing you can do about it, you know. Some people will say, you know, you got to look back at the incident and kind of dissect it for yourself and think to yourself, what could I have done differently? But I think at the end of the day, if you can look at that incident and reasonably tell yourself, I wouldn't have done anything different, no need to dwell on it. And I don't think there was anything you could have done different there that would have changed the outcome.
No, reasonable. It's got to be reasonable. And yeah, picking up the throttle is not a reasonable thing that you want to be doing.
Saw several drivers come down pit road. They are now back out and away. Most of those drivers, of course, are victims of that latest incident. Again, damage is repaired. But we are now going to get set to roll back at it. 43 laps to go. Yes, 43 laps to go when we take the green.
There was basically everyone from 19th on backwards has come down to pit lane. That's led by, first of those drivers will be Dave Harrington, Scott Leonard, Corey Hutchinson, Jeffrey Reed, Terrell Wheeler, Jason Shue, and Zach William Costa Easterday. Malillo's been down to pit lane. Most of those cars getting damage repairs, but for the bunch of those cars at the back, they may be in a position to make a benefit on fuel. If 45 laps was the marker, and we can only go, say, 43, 44 on fuel, you'll see Malillo drive very, very slowly through this next period, just trying to save as much gas as he possibly can. He's in a position where he can make it on fuel.
Free flag up in the air once again, this time by Philip Scott. Cosman, I know you're both going to get, oh boy, now Justin Melillo and Jeffrey Reed, both with black flags. Now the question is that a similar situation to what we saw with McFadden earlier on, where they'll be cleared?
Yeah, 100%. They have been cleared already. But the problem is people catching the field very, very late, and it's, oh, big wreck in the middle of the field. Big wreck.
Several cars going around, tail of the field. No caution, though, and we're going to keep this green. Looking like Ryan Newman may have been one of the big contributors in this one.
That he was. And he's got no right front on that car, so he's got no speeding. Oh, sorry, no turning. He's got tons of speed. Unfortunately, not enough turn.
That is already in progress. And, oh, Simmer got loose and just went up and hard into the wall. And collected Caton as well.
Unfortunate. Well, now they're going to settle themselves in for that long run. I can tell you, Malillo had to check up for that wreck, but he got his way around it. But remember, he's been clearing off damage and trying to save. I think he's saving fuel just a little bit. But the big thing is, he's got to be in contention with his lead pack. We get another yellow. You'll see the field pit. They'll all come down because they'll all be able to make it from there. That'll leave them with one extra set of tires, but that's okay. I think that's about the right distance to go.
Another yellow could be hard to come by, though. I mean, this field has spread themselves out very, very quickly off of the restart here. And I think we could very well see this race potentially go from here to the end. Ionoshu, fastest lap of the race, resets by a good margin. 31.026, and Desnoyes just lost the lead to him.
Yep, Ionoshu's had speed. He's been cutting his way through, but he's also been patient about it today as well. Well, I say patient. Every single time he's gotten into a position where he can take a spot away, he's actually made contact, but it's only been very, very minor contact each and every time. But he's been patient getting himself there. He's not been too aggressive to get himself out there. He's wait. I'm now in a position where I'm very able to go and take this one. I'm going to go for it. And I think you'll see this will be exactly that. And it was because Desnoyers got the barrier.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it caught the wall. So a bit of an assist there on that one for Ionoshu. Makes that a relatively easy pass. Now Philip Scott ripping the high side. He wants to try and find a way through.
Gets blocked to the bottom. Desnoyers covers that one off as they run down the front straight. But that's the difference. That's the momentum that builds up and off that outside lane. He was able to make the movement with it. And it's at the fastest lap of the race. First time tonight. Down into the 30-second lap times, and he does it by 1,000th of a second.
Kevin Desnoyers is now looking to take that spot away as well from Ionoshu. Screaming to the inside line. Kevin is through, but Cosman trying to get him right back up on the top side. So the 73 and the 24 still neck and neck down in towards turn numbers 1 and 2. And look at the squeeze to the outside wall for the 73.
Well, if I'm in Ryan Shelton's shoes, he wants to see this sort of racing action happening up ahead of him. He's a little bit closer to the front, and he's the best driver so far today in terms of that long run pace. Very likely, we get ourselves a long run to the flag here at this point in time. If that's the case, Shelton's going to suffer a little bit on the short run right here. He's fallen just outside the 10, but he's going to have great tires in about 15 laps time.
The battle for second remains tight between Philip Scott and Desnoyers. Up to the high side is Scott that time by While down to the bottom side is the driver of the number 73, Mark McFadden, black flagged again, this time for a pit lane infraction coming down to the lane.
It's odd to see him back in the lane, but I think he's done for the day. He's having internet issues and such at the moment. That car has now been shut off, and yeah, he is exited the service. Some more damage, unfortunately, for McFadden.
And speeding again.
Yeah, but he's done for the day. He didn't necessarily care too much. Who was speeding?
Scott takes the lead back away from Cosmo Ionoshu, and your holder, the fastest lap, drives up to the point, takes that one away, up on the high side of the racetrack. Look at Desnoyers now, down on the apron. Ionoshu with the squeeze, keeps the 73 at bay.
Yeah, he's going to need to slide up and take that one away if he possibly can, and he can't do that. Ionoshu made some speed this time on the top, but these guys are pushing their tires quite hard. Patience, patience, boys. Don't run it out too aggressively. You are going to burn that rubber up. I think they're expecting that we're going to get another caution.
33 laps to go. We certainly have enough time for us to get another yellow flag, though I'm not seeing too many packs where one could come about unless somebody really loses it somewhere on the racetrack, or one of these over-aggressive battles down here starts to pick up moves. Garrett Austin and Jeremiah Vincent now side by side off the corner, and that will be one that Austin hangs on to.
For now, I think this is just one of those ones where we just sit and watch, and we'll wait to see how this race starts to develop. Jeremiah Vincent is still in this race, but he is one lap down at this point in time. It's a tough day for him, unfortunately, but the car is still out there. Points still to be scored, and he's going to have some work to do. The benefit for him, though, to Eisenman not here tonight, so he won't be the last driver in playoff contention because he's already had it of Eisenman.
Martin Plout and Minazzi Major now side by side through 7th and 8th in a battle of their own. So this grudge match here for 7th starting to develop as well.
That it is. These guys both running relatively on speed with our race leaders at this point in time. Yeah, just keeping an eye on lines and things that people are driving, and also looking at Sidarius Days. He's actually a lap down at this point in time. He's driven his way up from the rear of the field at that restart, so he sits in between 11th and 12th right now. Ryan Shelton's actually the driver behind him, so he's trying to get back up there and try and Purdy's with lap back. Difficulty for him, he's the only car, he is at 2 laps down, my apologies. If he can get his way back to 1 lap down, he will be in with a shot, but he's got to get there.
It's possible. We've seen crazier. So who knows? I mean, again, long race. A lot can happen in 30 laps. We saw that on Tuesday night with the Omesera Cup Series, and an absolutely insane finale to an insane season where the championship swung back and forth between 2 teammates all throughout the night. It's never over until that checker flag falls, and I think that championship round, definitely a huge testament to it, but something that it's important to keep an eye out for even in the opening rounds of this chase.
Keep an eye on Ryan Shelton. Ryan Shelton's run quite a few laps that are a long way off the pace, and now his pace is starting to recover. But I am curious whether or not he was actually thinking about the fuel save. If it is tires or if it is the fuel save. Because again, thinking back to Texas, right? Texas, it was, and Bristol's exactly the same. It took a little while, then all of a sudden the tires fell off the cliff. They sort of stabilized really nicely. I am wondering whether or not he's plotting his run around a fall-off number, whether or not he knows that there is a specific number at which point the tires do fall off. Because right now his pace is really starting to respond. The problem for him is Sidarius Days is the lap car directly ahead of him, the one that we were talking about. So that's actually not the position.
Shelton, a little bit close there to the number 12. Okay, well, Days into the wall. I think that was Shelton sending a bit of a message.
I'm coming. Make sure you're ready for me. Get out of the way. And there is absolutely time to do that, and absolutely time to not. I definitely feel as if that's one of those times where, hey, I'm going to get a move on. And like I said, Sidarius Days has actually got really, really good short run speed. The problem with that is that we are beyond that short run. We're now at 26 laps on the tires, and they are going to fall off like a rock.
Look at Nicholas Coate with the aggressive look to the inside of Kevin Desnoyers. Coate's kind of come out of nowhere in this run, and he is now tracked all the way out to the back end of Philip Scott and might be looking to have a run here on the driver number 90, but no, Desnoyers goes back around the outside with the number 73. So Coate not secure yet.
You might have grip, but that outside lane is supreme in terms of the overall speed of that race car. So that's what you're going to be targeting. Got to be up there to be quick. A lot more time spent in the throttle. General conventional wisdom as well is that the outside lane, higher speeds, more force going through the tire, hotter tires, more tire wear. But with the way that the aero packages work on these next gen cars, it is one of those packages where you want to move around the racetrack depending upon the situation. You can run a little bit higher, and that's actually okay.
Desnoyers is going to take away the move from Philip Scott. And the 73, good pace there. He's going to pick up the second place spot, at least at the line. Scott trying to drive back around him on the top side, coming out of turn. Numbers 1 and 2, here comes Coate, making it 3 wide. And Desnoyers is forced to lift from the middle.
Well, they both got tight. They both got in there hot, thinking Philip Scott was just trying to get in there and make sure that he maintained overlap through the corner, because if there is a car still on the outside, all of a sudden that meant that Desnoyers could not use all of that racetrack. That's what it was all about. So he was covering that off. For Nicholas Coate, he just sat back and watched them both go in there really, really tight, turned the car down and under them. He had to be patient with the throttle. He was very, very patient, did so successfully. Ryan Shelton's just gotten around Dalton Powell at this point in time, so that's a playoff spot between those two drivers. So he is on the improve. And again, like I said, he's now picking off a ton of time. He's picking off 10th after 10th after 10th after 10th. And the benefit is everyone ahead of him is in that tow. So he keeps maintaining a lot of speed. So those tires, again, coming to him at the back end of this run. We're 30 laps into this run on these since these guys last changed their tires.
One of the longest green flag runs we've had so far tonight, but still, with 20 laps to go at the line, if this goes green, we will have gone green for about half of the race. I believe that random yellow not going to be a factor anymore because we did get one yellow flag already in this race.
Were they car diving off the pit lane? I saw smoke there.
Jason Shue in a pit road, and he's gotten a black flag for his troubles.
So not relevant to the race at large for Shute, although that is him disappearing off the lead lap as well.
Yeah, tough break
So
for Shue there.
That was Martin Plute in the barrier off it too, as well, and that's Shelton starting to track him down. But he just rubbed it. Just a little rub. She's okay.
Checking in on Cotilla's progress, still sits 7th, exactly where he qualified. The drivers around him may have changed, but he still fights for that spot to try to go up one. Garcias gonna look to get around him and put himself in a lucky number 7.
You know, Nolan, still not the best rub that I've heard about today. And in fact, both of them coming to us from Martin Plute. I'm really interested actually to try some steak rubs now after hearing Spencer read.
Okay, talk to them after the race.
Just because you've been working on your rubs off the racetrack does not mean that you need to put them on display on the racetrack, my friend.
Go ahead and talk to him post-race. I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
See the twisted steel on the side of that race car as well. Now there's another one just for good measure. He's out there. He's testing a new product. That's what he's doing.
Sure, we'll say that. Look at everybody migrated up to the outside line, and potential issue for Sidarius Days was marked as driving slowly. He has since come down to pit road. Is this? Oh, this is an attempted entry, and eventually, yeah, just that's a good choice. Decided to abort and come in the lap after. No way in hell he was making that.
No, you already saw the tires locked up, so he was too late on entry. I'm pretty sure it's his right front that's melting off that car as well. Again, keeping an eye on the progress of Ryan Shelton, he's up to 9th. Nate Catilla ahead of him did get the barriers in the exit of 2 last lap, not current lap. He's making more time on him yet again. Really curious to see what the 99's capable of when he gets clean air. Like, is he massively faster? The problem for Shelton is that he's taking so long to bring these tires in, and he's giving up so much time that he is making ground. The problem is, if this race was another 100 laps, I'd say he's got a really, really good shot. The problem is it's only about another 25 laps. In fact, sorry, my apologies, only 15. Yeah, so...
Right now running 5th out of the chase drivers on the racetrack, but like you say, there's also 3 cars in between he in first place that are taking away precious points that he can't get, so he is losing out significantly still on those points that he desperately is going to need to have a good championship run.
Jason Gracias is going to try and drive down the racetrack underneath Ethan Amberg, so this will help Shelton as well. Because this means these 2 guys fighting, they will come back to him. Margin from Shelton to the race lead is down to 3.1 seconds. So he's in a really, really good window with how that car's operating at the moment. And he is making time. But for Shelton, the way you got to look at it for Shelton is, has he improved? Has his tyre strategy and being more cautious on this one really helped him out? Well, when you see he qualified out of 14th, and if we go green at the end, he's probably going to pick off another 4 spots here. You'd say, yeah, that's a big one. That puts him all the way up to 4. He'll be plus 10 on the night. So that's a huge, huge win for him. Currently, the driver making the most spots would be that 17th place Dave Harrington. Started out at 31st spot, currently runs in 17th. 14 gate.
Battle for second as well between Cosmo Inoshu and Nicholas Coate started to develop. So Coate, oh, that's for the lead, sorry. I guess it's technically for second as well, but it is for the lead. So Nicholas Coate going to drive around Inoshu, picking up a critical 5 points for that race win. And those 5 points, that can be the decider of a championship.
That would be very, very important. And for Inoshu, he's been there, he's been close how many times this season, so he would love to tick that one off. He's had great long run pace here today. He just cannot tick that last box, hey? That's the problem.
So Coate going to start to lead some laps. 10 laps to go this afternoon. 81 to 90. And the race has flown by an estimated 5 minutes of racing left if this race goes green to the end.
Again, just keeping half an eye on drivers towards the front, towards the rear. Minazzi Majors aero blocking right now on Ryan Shelton. He's desperately trying to get a lane of clean air, and you can just see Shelton got clean air this lap, immediately gets on his outside, and he will guaranteed complete that pass when they get down to 1 and 2.
Shelton very much on the move now, looking for 3 wide to the inside of Ethan Amberg. Up the middle, contact! Major backs out for the bottom side, and Amberg holds on from up top for the time being, but the Bakari Sweat Camry sends her into turn 3.
Yeah, he's desperate to get that one clear, because once he gets cleared, he's okay. Phil Scott's the next driver on the racetrack. And Phil's led some laps today, led a fair chunk of that opening run, but it's his long run pace. He just barely lost the lead too when that first caution flew. He to maintain track position. This would be a different racetrack, but sort of race for him. You can just see Shelton is just ripping these guys apart right now. The problem, when we get back to the line, 7 laps to go, he's not going to make up 2.6 seconds in 7 laps to lead this one. Critically, he needs Nicholas Cote to win the race if he wants to hang on to that championship lead.
Cote's still out in front. I know she has been losing time. Nazi Major now looking to battle that with Ethan Amberg. Remember, Major made it in by about 1 point into the chase and now trying to secure himself in by not being bottom of the barrel. And now Major to the inside of Philip Scott. And we got
Ryan Shelton.
A disregard. Thought we had a problem with Jason Shue. Forgot he had already come down to pit road, and Shelton is through. Now here's a healthy battle. Desiree Garcia's fighting it out, and you also got this 4-way scrap for ninth.
As Dalton Powell and Martin Ploot. So both of those drivers are relevant to the playoffs. Ploot sends it into 3 and 4. Tell you what though, he's turned that car off the wall. That's actually not worked out too badly for him.
No, it is not. Now, will we go 3 wide down the front straightaway? We will not. But Ploot gets to the outside of Joey Merritt, pings off the wall in 4. Uses that to his advantage. Now looking to carry the momentum around the outside of turn 1, off of turn 2. He's clear.
Great job. I mean, got a little bit lucky with the way that car bounced off the barriers. Again, he's going to get the wall as he starts to turn down the racetrack.
Meanwhile, here we go. Oh, look out, Terrell Wheeler into the fence. That's lap traffic right around Garcias and Desnoyers. Cosman, I know, she in the mix as well. So the leaders battling through some lap traffic. You're an aggressive 3-way dogfight for second.
On the strap will be 3 left to run. Will they get held up enough by the traffic that it will buy enough time for Ryan Shelton to come to them? And they're all going to cross over to run to the bottom of the track. Garcias gets back to P2. He's going to block the bottom and then back to the top as well. Ionoshu.
Tags the back.
Yeah.
Now we keep it clean for now. 2 to go at the line. This race still is not official.
Tell you what, 3 to go. If these guys keep scrapping, Shelton will be relevant to them. But that lap traffic has helped him massively. But he needs them to scrap. If they stay single file as they are, he's not going to get there.
Now, critically, Nicholas Cote has been losing to Jason Garcias. Garcias fast by over a 10th a lap. Can he close in 2, though, on the final one?
Problem is, white flag in the air. He's got to make himself up 3/10 and get the pass done.
It's going to be a tall order, but the game is not over yet. Jason Garcias has one more opportunity. 2 tenths between them. Does Garcias have an answer into turn number 3? Cote down to the bottom. Garcias taking a wider arc, trying to see if he can secure it that way. Off the final corner, though. Nicholas Cote going to hang on to take the win at the Kansas Speedway. Garcias second, Desnoy is third, and Ionoshu first of the chase competitors, all the way back in 4th.
How about that? Not even a chase competitor on the podium. Shelton drives his way through the field, gets to 5th in the end. Traffic unfortunately hampered his run a little bit later on, did manage to find some time. Phil Scott gets the fastest lap of the race on his way to 7th spot. Led laps here tonight. Ploot rounds out the 10, so a reasonable day at the office for him. At least sticks a whole bunch of points on the board. But the drivers that are going to suffer as a result here tonight, Justin Malillo, Jeremiah Vincent, Drew Eisenman. They came into this one 4th through 6th in terms of your playoff standings. Malillo and Vincent with issues, Eisenman not in attendance.
What a race this afternoon, and for Nicholas Cote, it is his first career win with the Speed Cup Series. And boy, you never forget your first, right? Especially when it comes by way of upsetting the championship in a big fashion.
He's going to celebrate that one. There's a lot of positivity as a result. So very, very happy to see.
Yeah, Code having an awesome drive this afternoon. And in terms of wins, that will be just his 5th in his league race history, according to the Sim Reserve stat page, in 94 starts. So definitely a big day for Cote. We'll be able to take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon after a good solid way to kick off the playoff season this afternoon. And bringing it home, it is Nicholas Cote with Jason Garcias back in the number 2 spot. Desnoy is back in 3rd. Ian Oshu rounds things out in 4th. You then also had the likes of Ryan Sheldon in 5th, Benazzi Major in 6th. Scott was 7th, Amberg in 8th, Powell 9th, and Martin Plute rounds out the top 10.
Outside the 10, Catilla had speed at some points. Tim Branson gets his way to 12th. Joey Barrett, Garrett Austin was on fresh tires late in that piece trying to make something work. 14th spot for him. Big gap, though, over 11 seconds back to Colton Easterday, Wesley Dunphy, and Scott Leonard out of 17th. Arabia, Caton the 3rd. Zach Williams and Malello, unfortunately, only able to get home in 20th spot.
Moving on back into 21st, it is Dave Harrington, Charles Simmer, the last 2 cars of the lead lap. From there, Wheeler, Hutchinson, Reed, Vincent, and Days all finish laps down, with Jason Shue, Mark McFadden, Ryan Newman, Jeff Goodpacer, and Josiah Vincent all failing to finish this race tonight. So we'll get the chance now to take a chit-chat here with the drivers that finished this race up on the podium, and we'll look to kick things off first and foremost here with one Nicholas Cote, the driver of the Turtle Beach Next Level Racing number 7 Camaro, comes home number 1 this afternoon. Nick, you never forget your first win in the new league, and with this being just your 5th league win according to your stats page on Sim Racer Hub, this is looking to be a big night for you.
Yeah. Wow. I've never been good at saving tires until tonight, I guess. Man, that was fun. That was a great race.
Talk us through the race this afternoon. It was not an easy win, and you have thrown a big wrench in the works for quite a few drivers in their championship tonight.
Yeah, qualified good. Got shuffled back that first run. I think I was over tire saving, and then just picked my way back, and then I settled into 5th for the second run. I just kind of stayed in touch with the leaders and saved tire, and then second half of the run, I was a rocket ship and made my way to the front.
We've been seeing a lot of strong performances out of you. Only a part-time schedule so far in this 4th season of the Speed Cup Series. Are we looking to see you back more throughout the chase? And if so, will we see win number 2?
Hoping for win number 2, and yeah, I'm going to be a full-time from here on out. I joined late. I joined like, I don't know, 4 or 5 races in. But yeah, I'm planning on being full-time for a while.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck then when we go racing next week. Congratulations on taking your first Speed Cup Series win this afternoon. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Nicholas Cote comes home number 1 this afternoon, and that will bring on up Jason Garcias, the driver of the number 1, standing by with Scott Rankin.
Jason, tough night at the office, because I was just saying at the start of the piece, qualified right up at the pointy end of the field, finished second after starting second. Mate, the problem is you missed out on the playoff spots. Just not a good enough run last week. Is that frustrating, or is that motivation knowing that you're there and you're in contention for next season?
It's not frustrating. I knew I was going to miss some playoff races, so me crashing last week was actually a good thing. Just because I didn't have to deal with the, I guess, agony if I made the playoffs and missed a race. But I'm here to have fun, and that's what I accomplished today. I had a lot of fun.
Mate, she was a tough little race in that one. Obviously, in that opening run, just not quite able to match the guys that were in around. You probably burned the tires off just a fraction. Really strong adjustment, though, for the back half of that race, because you went from being probably one of the drivers inside that top 5 that was on the slide to all of a sudden you were progressing as the race went on.
Yeah, there's a couple of times where Philip came across my nose and the car got tight and smacked the wall. And from there, just it got tighter and tighter. But that run, I thought I was short on fuel, so I backed up my pace to save fuel. But turns out I was good on fuel, so I started marching forward, and I guess it worked in my favor. Maybe if we had 3 more laps, maybe I would have had something for Nick. But good job to Nick getting that win today.
Finally, who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to on the run to second place here tonight?
I would like to thank every guy that let me pass him cleanly without giving me too much grief. I'd like to thank the people at Max Graphics, but now known as Rap Guy for the cool paint schemes. I would thank Speed and all the supporting partners that put this on. You guys for the broadcast. My mom and dad for making me. My wife for letting me iRace, and my son for sleeping through the night so I can iRace. So thanks everybody that makes it happen, and all the viewers at home.
Mate, congratulations on finishing P2. Go off and enjoy the celebrations.
Thanks.
Finally, we'll take the step down to the 3rd spot on the rostrum, and Kevin Desnoy standing by with Nolan Rempel.
It's a 3rd place finish this afternoon for the driver of the number 73, and Kevin, a good result overall. Started in 5th, and you fought your way up onto a podium. Haven't been able to talk to you much throughout the course of the season, but it's good to be able to talk to you again. Talk us through your race tonight and what finds you up in 3rd.
Yeah, well, I think this was my first time ever driving this track when I loaded in the session, so I had to learn pretty quick in practice, and honestly, most of the learning came from the race, kinda. It felt like seeing what's going on in front. I never really felt like I had good pace when the tires were fresh, but at least the first stint, I think I took care of the tires really well, because I was really gaining in the long run, but the second stint when I was leading and had to really have the pace at the beginning, I think I kind of just crumbled and pushed a bit too hard.
Kind of walk us through the strategy game. Obviously, was looking to be about a one-stopper right at the halfway point, and boy, that run kind of got disrupted a little bit. Kind of around that first caution flag, saw quite a few drivers saving fuel on the last yellow as well by going onto the apron. Where did it fall for you?
It was about the same, so it was going to be really close if there wasn't that second caution. But thankfully the second caution came and I was able to easily save fuel, but I think even without it, it would have been close. It would have had to been doing a bit of saving during the race.
Of course, next week, racing action going to take us out to the North Wilkesboro Speedway for our final short track of the season. 200 laps around the historic track over in North Carolina. How do you think things are going to line up for you there?
I don't know. I don't think I even own the track, so we'll see next week. I think I like short tracks. They're interesting and technical.
That sounds like a good plan. We'll see you next week then. Congratulations on 3rd, and we'll see you in North Carolina.
Thank you.
Kevin Desnoyers comes home number 3 this afternoon. And Scott, that's going to be it for us here for our driver interviews this afternoon. Kind of taking a look, excuse me, sorry, going to be taking a look over at our championship standings here in just a moment once things decide to get themselves updated. Here we go. So things take a minute, right? I mean, it's just new system, trying to find everything. Give me a break. These are the not official provisional championship standings for your top 10 in the chase entering North Wilkesboro next week. Shelton maintains his run at the top by an Oshu, though, still within 3. Amberg, I believe, will have dropped 1 spot, but overall, it's still a wide open race.
Yeah, have a look at Martin Plutz. Actually made a little bit of ground, but Nazi Majors had a phenomenal run there as well. They've brought themselves a long, long way up. Drew Eisenman, that might be enough to end his run, realistically. So I'm actually sitting there and I'm looking at that and going, yeah, you know what? That's unfortunate for him, but we also heard it from the rest of the guys. You know, it is difficult. You got to be here. You got to be in contention. Gracias, knew that he was going to at least miss one of the races, and but he's still out there punching in results. Dalton Powell, I think, had a potential for a strong finish here. Wasn't quite able to chalk that one up. But hey, it is what it is. Get your head down, show back up again next week. I think that's the big thing, is make sure no matter what happens, you keep turning laps, you keep yourself in contention.
And of course, next week, it's North Wilkesboro Speedway, the final short track race of the season. I think the one good thing for a lot of the championship contenders tonight, no controversy, so it's not like anybody's going to be going into that race looking for retribution, right? But those short track races, especially at North Wilkesboro, with how uniquely that track is laid out with the downhill into the uphill, it's a place where it's easy to get hot under the collar.
Oh, it's short track racing in general, but yeah, North Wilkesboro is difficult to get an overtake done. So I think we're going to see potentially quite a lot more caution flags next week. You know, it's going to be about race management, making sure that you're in the right places at the right times, and you're not over pressing. So we'll see how that one goes. But that's big challenge, I think, coming our way.
It's going to be a big challenge for the rest of the drivers and more, but before we get to that challenge, we of course have still got to get through the rest of the week here on Green Flag TV. No racing on Friday. On Saturday, the SRA NASCAR Classic Series swings to the gambling capital of America for the SRA and UAW 125 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Both the Blazing Pedals ARCA Series and ASRL are off for Mother's Day. It will only be a single header on Sunday with the Classic IndyCar Series taken to the Brickyard at the famed road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's a trip to North Carolina for the High Tide Racing Guardian Premier Series as they go racing out at Rockingham coming on up on Monday night with the PSR Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series out for the Hyperion Racing 183. That'll be round number 6 coming at you with the lone header on Wednesday night as the Beer League is also off for their mid-season rumble. That'll then, of course, take us all the way back around to the Speed Cup Series when they go racing 1 week from today at North Wilkesboro Speedway. If you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, you can check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. And as always, my name is Lola Rempel, alongside Scott Rankin, bringing you all of racing action from tonight's Thursday night Speed Cup Series presentation. Next week, one more short track race remains before we will be racing at 1.3 miles and up for the rest of the season. North Wilkesboro going to be a wild one. We'll see you there in North Carolina.